Morning, everybody. How you all doing? So I've been watching the police lately. The Epping situation at the illegal immigrant hotel and other places. And what the police have to remember is they're trained to fight brief but large scale disorder. That's what they're trained to do. They're trained to put it down. They issue dispersal orders and stuff like that to calm down a situation. But what happens when that stops to happen, when people don't come out angry anymore, but instead it becomes controlled aggression, tactics start to be deployed. They start to see how the police react to certain situations, and then they counter those actions with their own tactics. The police are a civilian force designed to protect society that, well, they used to be. Obviously, they don't really go in for that much anymore now, as we can all see. But that's what they were set up to be. They're a civilian force designed to police society and keep the peace. That's basically what they're supposed to do, is to keep the king's peace. That's what they're trained to do. So obviously, when there's riots, they come out in force and they can pretty much put down a riot in a matter of hours just using their tactics. And like I said before, that's all well and good when you're going up against an angry mob. But when that anger starts to become more controlled and you're not facing an angry mob anymore, you're facing a counterforce that is equally capable of learning from your tactics and formulating their own to counter what you're doing. That's when things start to get interesting, because the police force isn't trained to fight a war. They're not trained to fight in a civil war. They're not prepared for it. I would say at the minute they're barely trained to detect criminality, to be a deterrent to criminals. We have a very poorly trained police force at the minute. We really do. And the only thing that really makes them formidable is the public's unwritten respect for them. They have a respect for the law and fear of the police. They fear arrest. And that fear comes from consent. We consent to be policed. We give the police get their power the same way the government does. We consent to be governed by them. We consent to be policed by them. And that consent can be withdrawn. And if enough happens where the police are no longer a police force and we've seen them, this is wide up in the open now. We know they're politicized. We know they're taking sides in this when they really shouldn't. They should be a neutral force that polices without fear or favor, and they don't do that anymore. But the thing I'm getting at is that consent is dissolving away, where people will no longer accept the police's authority over them. And when that happens, they're just a bunch of civilians in a costume. That's what the police should be really scared of. The fact that the public loses all respect for them, no longer gives them consent to be policed by them. And this will happen when the people have nothing else left to lose. That will happen. But we saw events that took place in Epping where the police officer hit that gentleman in the face with a shield, completely unjustified. People, thousands upon thousands, maybe millions of people in this country will see that. And consent for the police goes down. I just want to point out that the police are just not equipped or trained to fight against organised resistance. They're not. They're not trained to do that. They're trained to go up against disorganised, angry mobs of people. That is slowly going to change over time. Just something for everybody to think about. This is Vindicator signing off.